The city was alive that night. Neon lights flickered on damp pavement, taxis honked, and the hum of nightlife pulsed through the streets. It was the kind of night where time felt precious. People rushing to parties, to dinners, to dates, to flights. Among them was a man behind the wheel of a silver sedan, phone mounted on the dash, the Uber logo glowing faintly in the corner of his windshield. His name was Daniel Ruiz, 34 years old, a father of two, driving nights to make ends meet. To some, he was just another Uber driver. But to one passenger that night, he would become the last driver they'd ever see. Daniel was no stranger to pressure. He worked full-time at a warehouse during the day, and when his shift ended, he clocked in for Uber. It wasn't about luxury. It was about survival. Rent bills, school fees. He pushed himself harder than most could imagine. Every minute on the road mattered, because every trip meant a little more money for his family. And that night, when his app pinged, Daniel saw an address he knew well. A hotel near the airport. Surge pricing in effect. A high-paying ride. He tapped accept. The passenger's name was Marcus Hall, 27 years old. A consultant, dressed in a sharp gray suit. He had a flight to catch, a red-eye back home to Atlanta. Marcus was the kind of man who planned everything down to the minute. But that night, a client meeting had run late. He was behind schedule. The flight was boarding in less than an hour. As he slid into the back seat of Daniel's car, he leaned forward with urgency. "Hey man, I really need to catch this flight. Can you get me there fast?" Daniel glanced at him in the rear-view mirror. He'd heard this plea before, but tonight he felt the weight of it. The surge pay, the tiredness creeping in, the desperation to please a customer. He nodded. "I got you." The car pulled away from the curb. The clock was ticking. At first, everything seemed normal. City streets blurred by, the hum of the engine filling the silence. But inside Daniel's head, a battle waged. The navigation app showed the route. 27 minutes to the airport. Marcus's flight? Boarding in 30. Cutting it close. Very close. Marcus checked his watch repeatedly. "We're not gonna make it at this pace," he muttered. Daniel felt the pressure mount. He thought about his rating, about the tip, about the passenger in the back who needed a miracle. That's when Daniel made a decision. He veered off the suggested route and onto side streets. His foot pressed heavier on the gas. Stop signs blurred. Traffic lights became suggestions. The car swerved around slower vehicles. Each turn shaved seconds, maybe minutes, off the trip. Marcus held on to the door handle. Can you slow down a little?" he asked, his voice tense. But then he fell silent, because every second mattered. And maybe, just maybe, the driver knew best. The city blurred by faster now. Tires screeched on corners. Horns blared from cars narrowly avoided. Daniel's knuckles were white on the wheel. He told himself it was worth it. Just a little faster. Just one more red light ignored. Then came the intersection. A four-way crossing on the edge of downtown. The light was red. Daniel saw it. But he also saw the countdown clock on his passenger's flight. He pressed the gas. In that instant, everything unraveled. From the left, a truck barreled forward on its green. The collision was deafening. Metal crunched, glass shattered, bodies jolted. The car spun. Airbags exploded. Silence, then chaos. When the world stopped spinning, Daniel looked around in shock. His chest heaved, smoke filled the cabin. Pain shot through his arm. He turned back, eyes wide. Marcus wasn't moving. Emergency crews arrived within minutes. Sirens cut through the night as flashing lights painted the wreckage. Daniel stumbled out, dazed, shouting, "He's not breathing. Please help him." But it was too late. Marcus Hall, 27, on his way to catch a flight home, was pronounced dead at the scene. Daniel survived. The truck driver survived. Only Marcus did not. News of the crash spread quickly. Uber passenger killed in reckless driving accident. The headlines read. Family members wept at the airport when they learned Marcus never arrived. His mother's cry echoed through the terminal, shattering hearts of strangers nearby. Police questioned Daniel. His story was shaky. Yes, he admitted he had run the red light. Yes, he admitted he was speeding. But he insisted he wasn't trying to hurt anyone. He was trying to help. To get his passenger to the airport on time. Prosecutors saw it differently. They charged him not just with reckless driving, but with vehicular manslaughter. Some argued it was murder, because he knowingly ignored the rules of the road. He knew the risk. He gambled with someone else's life. Daniel sat in a courtroom weeks later, his hands trembling. Across the room sat Marcus's family, eyes filled with grief and rage. They wanted justice. They wanted accountability. But what did justice mean in this case? Was Daniel a killer? Or was he just a man under pressure, making bad choices in a world that rewards speed over safety? Friends testified on his behalf. They spoke of a hard-working father, exhausted from double shifts, trying to make ends meet. They described a man who loved his kids, who never had trouble with the law, who wasn't violent. They asked, could someone like that truly be guilty of murder? The prosecutor painted another picture. They showed traffic camera footage of Daniel's car blowing through lights, swerving between lanes, pushing past the limits. They showed the crushed remains of Marcus's briefcase, recovered from the wreck. They reminded the jury that a man's life ended that night. Not by chance, but by choice. Daniel's lawyer countered. Choice, yes, but intent, no. He didn't intend to kill. He intended to deliver his passenger safely, albeit recklessly. Reckless driving, not murder. The jury sat with the evidence, the weight heavy on their shoulders. One man's mistake had cost another man his life. But how should the law respond? With compassion or condemnation? Outside the courtroom, the debate raged. Some said Daniel should be locked away. If drivers cut corners on safety, they must face consequences. Others argued he was a victim of a system that pushes gig workers to rush, to take risks, to prioritize ratings over responsibility. The case divided opinion everywhere it was told. People asked themselves, have I ever told a driver, can you go faster? Have I ever pushed someone into a dangerous choice without realizing it? Have I ever bent the rules to save time? That night, Marcus Hall lost his life. Daniel Ruiz lost his freedom, his future, his chance to be there for his children. 2 families destroyed, all because of one decision at a red light. And so we ask you, was Daniel guilty of murder? Or was he simply guilty of reckless driving?